They're the hard workers. They're the ones who kind of also are a little bit more rough around the edges, not as polished as some of you might think. So I do speak with the cha, but that's okay. You guys can make fun of all you want. But I'm incredibly proud to be here. Incredible work that all of you have done over the years, opened doors for myself, somebody like me, to serve in the United States Congress. As you heard, I am, mashallah, the eldest of 14. I have 7 younger brothers, 6 younger sisters, mashallah. It's probably the thing that best prepared me for public service, more than my law degree, more than anything, I think is the fact that I am the big sister. But I want to talk to you about something very serious. You know, I grew up in the city of Detroit, which I believe is the most beautiful, blackest city in the country. In the city of Detroit, every corner is a reminder of the civil rights movement, the labor rights movement. What I love about growing up there is that the part of the American story that no one, this part of the story about me and Sister Ilhan Omar, is that me and Sister Ilhan got elected by majority non-Muslim, non-Arab, non-Somali community. That's the part that nobody understands. My district is majority African-American white community. Less than 5% are Arab. Her district is 70% white community. I say this all to you because that is part of the story that nobody ever talks about. But I want the young people to know this, to know that it was fellow Americans, again, that didn't share my faith or ethnicity, elected me and helped make history in electing the first Palestinian female in the United States Congress. And one of the first Muslims. What I love about it too is, for all of you, you know, my father who only had 4th grade education, my mother 8th grade education. My father in the 70s, he was that guy that was on the corner that when you went up to him, he opened up his arms, he said, "Which watch do you want?" Hi, Abuya. Anjad, 4th grade education. I remember I used to complain about raking the leaves and all this stuff, and he says, listen, he would always remind me when he was this small, I don't know, that looks like 4 years old, I don't know, he always goes, بقيت هكدي بقيت أحمل أغراض الناس على ظهري في القدس. In Jerusalem, he used to carry people's groceries from the old city out for nothing, for just a little bit of money. So he says, you have nothing to complain about. My mother, who only had 8th grade education, came to this country. I was her translator until I was 12 years old. What I love about my mother, Allah, God give her strength always, is she's very compassionate. She sees a person on the corner and they're asking for money. She's always like, haram, absar shu sar fi. Like she always, like she always feels with people. She never judges. And what I love about that is, you know, when I was 12 years old, and I remember I'm translating for my mom, and even though she spoke English, you know, her accent, she was always worried about it. And we were in Sears, for all the young people who don't know Sears, ask your parents. We were in Sears, and I'm sitting there translating for my mom. And if you're a child of immigrants, you know exactly this feeling. So I'm at the cashier, and I'm like, Mama, okay, she's taking stuff up there. And I'm like, to the cashier, she's asking this, she's asking that. The cashier got frustrated. Oh, she should learn English. And I was like, something came out of me, Southwest Detroit style. I was like, excuse me, but do you not notice, I'm not translating what you're saying, I'm translating what my mother is saying. So she understands what you're saying, but people like you talk loud to her because her accent and all this stuff. And I remember my mom going, she's like, this is Sears head. So the last time we're ever going to this Sears store again. But my mother is that way. And I say this to you all because my mom is the type of person that, yeah, she's proud of me, you know. أكيد بتقول لكل الناس بنتي congresswoman. Okay, mama. وهيك تروح على عراس like this, like, you know. Yeah, I see her. I noticed now she has like a stride to her or something. I was like, mashallah, alhamdulillah. And so one of the things I love is my mom is like that person, maybe because of her growing up in Palestine, I don't know what it is. But she's always like, khalas, Khalila Allah, everything, even Trump, Khalila Allah. No, my mom, everything, Khalila Allah. I was like, okay. So I want to tell you a story. Growing up in Detroit, it was the black mothers on the block that used to tell my mom, raise your voice. Let you be heard. It was the black mothers who told my mom, speak up. It was these amazing mothers who told me, don't you let nobody tell you what to do. Nobody should tell you what to do. You speak up. Tell the truth. The first time I ever heard speak truth to power was from an African-American teacher. In 1990, they literally gave us a book. I was in high school, 9th grade. Orange book. I remember it's the first time we got these brand new books. They got rid of our history books and they gave us a book only about African-American history, real history. A side of a history that nobody ever was teaching our kids. And all of a sudden, every time I went to Palestine, I see the two lines, I would remember the history here in this country of treating African Americans, still the oppression of our black brothers and sisters. Every time I saw the different color license plates, the dehumanization at the checkpoints, everything so interconnected of what continues to happen to our black and brown sisters here and brothers. I say this to you all because it is so important that you know that it was this beautiful, beautiful, strong city of Detroit who raised me the way I am now. Really. Because when I went to the border, oh my God, when I saw this 4-year-old little boy come up to the window, literally his hands were up there and he's asking me where his father was. 4 years old. Do you know what I saw at the border? I saw Gaza. So when you think about the border, you gotta understand how interconnected it is with the oppression of what's happening in Palestine is the oppression of what's happening to our people here. When I see, every time, the shuf, wahad aswad, qatalun, like the police going after, killing innocent people, treating African American brothers and sisters like they're disposable. I think of Palestine and what happens to our brothers and sisters in the occupation. So when you see that, don't look away. It was this Muslim sister who says to me, Rashida, I don't know what's going on. Why isn't anybody speaking up? I said to her, what are you talking about? She goes, what he's saying about us Muslims. I said, sister, what did you say when he said Mexicans were rapists? Silence in the masjid in Flint. When we don't speak up, we're losing this battle to free people from this form of oppression. It's very painful, ya jama'ah. This othering, this dehumanization is painful. But when we all speak up for each other, we give each other credibility, we grow this movement into something stronger. So please, when you see these things, understand how interconnected it is. Because when I'm fighting for clean water in the city of Detroit and all throughout Wayne County that I represent, I'm fighting for clean water in Gaza, access to water there. So all of it is so interconnected. Now, these are for the moms that are like my mama, okay? Who's always like, خلاص يما ضلي عاكلة ليش وطي صوتك ليش بتحكي هيك خلاص اقعدي. My mom to this day. But in 2016, less than a mile of where I lived, then candidate Donald Trump, and I know this is a nonpartisan organization, I will say that now, I'm a lawyer, say that. But he was a candidate, and it was the first time Detroit Economic Club had this guy come here. And he was already running on the Muslim ban, on these unbelievable, un-American policies and hate rhetoric that led already to the increase of violence towards people like us. And he was there, and then all of a sudden people started calling and saying, hey, they're not gonna let us ask questions at the Detroit Economic Club where he's coming to speak. So 12 women and I got in to Cobo Hall, right downtown Detroit. We got in legally, okay? Every 2 minutes, big crowd, bigger than this, very business community, suits, you know what I'm talking about. We got in there. Every 2 minutes, one of the women would get up in the crowd and ask a question. What do you think about sexual harassment in the workplace? What do you think about labor rights? I was number 7. And I get up there and I'm like, I wasn't even scared of him or Secret Service. I was more scared of the crowd because what I saw what happened to the 6 women before me was the crowd was pulling the hairs, kicking them, hurting them. They became very violent. That khawafni azwadishi. Like, wow, this is the Detroit Economic Club, the business community. And they're violent like that towards someone that's asking a very valid, legitimate question to somebody who wants to be president of the United States. So I was number 7. I get up and I was like, have you ever read the United States Constitution? You should read the United States Constitution. Rashida, if you look at the speech, the only time sakat is when I'm me. I just want you to know. So I'm like sitting there and I'm in between and the Secret Service is coming and they just pull you out. So I'm in between and I'm like, oh, in between. They finally pull me out. As soon as I get out, they just take my name and let me go. As soon as I get out, Akhui Rashid calls me. Ana andi Rashid, Rashad, and Rashida in my family. So Rashid calls me, and Rashid calls me, and he's like, listen, did you just get arrested, sis? I was like, no, what are you talking about? Don't say nothing to Yama. He's like, she already knows. You're on CNN. They showed you getting dragged out of Kobo. And I was like, who called you? And then it's him. I know it was him. So then my sister Layla calls me. She goes, listen, Yama's crying. She's so upset. And I was like, it's okay, it's okay. So then my mom calls me. She goes, shoo. I was like, shoo, ya mom. Naam. Shoo fi shi. She goes, Iti fi sijin? Are you in jail? I said, Mama, how can I be in jail if I'm answering my cell phone? She goes, يما ليش رايحة هناك تسوي لي مشاكل؟ ليش انت دايما الوحيدة بتسوي لي مشاكل؟ And I said, Mama, it's the most American thing I could have done. He wants to be president. I want to know if he's ever read the United States Constitution. And yes. And I'm all like, Yama, it is so important. Click, hangs up on me. The sisters in the group, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, sakarat al-telephone. Nothing. She goes to Salli Yom al-Jum'ah, rahat Salli Jum'ah. Rahat al-Masjid. So rahat haneka, she goes in, Friday prayer, and all the women are like, MashaAllah, bintik, makweha, mashallah anha, all this stuff. And my mom, of course, my sister's like, she's walking in like, So on Saturday, she calls me, she goes, I said, oh, Yama, you're not mad at me no more? She goes, no, I'm proud of you. Right? She gets approval. I say this to you all because please know this is a pretty dark time in our country. I'm not joking, and we've had some war criminals as president. We are at a time where this is a dark, dark time. So when your kids want to march with Black Lives Matter, march with dreamers, march with everyone to speak up. Even though I was the only Arabiya out of those 12 women, I joined in solidarity with these women to give a voice. Let go just a little bit. They're doing it because it is interconnected to all of our freedoms. It's so much of who we are in this country. This is what we have to fight for. Because if we're Lila Sekdeen, if we just stay too quiet, it's going to get worse. So please let go just a little bit of the rope. Just let go a little bit. Don't be so afraid. I know your moms. I'm a mother. And أنا بخاف على أولادي all the time. But I'd rather them sit there march for freedom and justice and equality than not do anything at all. And so I'm asking all of you to do that. So my last thing, because it's been saying time's up for a while. My brother, Nader, he calls me out of the blue after I got kicked out of the conference center. And he's like, sis. I was like, what do you want, Nader? And Nader, by the way, he's the one that's a little more right in the family. It's okay. Alishmi. And so I love him. He's my brother, but we're going to disagree. And yes, he voted for him. I love getting this because he says, stop telling people. Gutla. He wants to make Jerusalem a capital. Oh, no. I said, he wants to do Muslim and he's never going to get away with it. Gutla, what do you think this guy, look at him. He did everything he said he was gonna do, right? Except we're still paying for the wall, all this other stuff. But the point is, he calls me out of the blue and he says, I'm really proud of you, sis. I said, for what? I do civil disobedience work all the time, Nader. It's not a big deal. He said, nah, sis, I watched the video. Every single woman needed 2 Secret Service. You needed 6.